Hey everyone, Uber reported quarterly earnings results that sent the stock price soaring, and then a few days after, the company held an investor relations meeting, and what it said to investors sent the stock price even higher. Of course, if you've been following my channel, you'll know that Uber, I put on my list of top stocks to buy for 2024. I made that video in late December. Uber stock is already up nearly 27% year to date as of this recording. So Uber has done really well so far. It's been one of my better stock recommendations to start the year. Now, in this video, I'm going to review Uber's latest financial results, and I'm going to update my recommendation for Uber stock. You're going to want to tune in to see if I'm upgrading, downgrading, or if I'm letting you know that it's time to take profits in Uber stock. I'll let you know all that in this video, so let's jump into the results. I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now. All right, so for its most recent quarter, ended in 2023, Uber monthly active platform customers increased by 15% to 150 million. The number of trips taken increased by 24% to 2.6 billion. I'm surprised by the success Uber is having, to be sure. A couple of years ago, I thought Uber, DoorDash, Lyft, the whole industry, I thought they were doomed. But thankfully, they turned things around. They lessened promotional activity. They decreased the competitive fierceness, and look where it's led them to. Uber has done phenomenally well, as you're going to see in this video. Gross bookings increased to 37.5 billion. That was up 22% year over year. Revenue increased by 15% to 9.9 billion. Here comes the most impressive part. Income from operations increased to 652 million. That was from a loss of 142 million in the same quarter the prior year. Uber has been relentless with its price increases. If you're a customer of Uber, I don't need to tell you about Uber's price increases, right? Every time I open Uber Eats to try and order something, I get shocked by the prices. I literally get shocked. The other day, I tried to order 4 Subway sandwiches, and it was going to cost me about $80 for delivery for 4 Subway sandwiches. I'm shocked at the level and the speed of these price increases. But surprisingly, people have found its services still worth the price. People keep paying because the convenience benefits it adds is worthwhile for customers. They say, yes, it's expensive. Yes, it's way more expensive than going out and getting the Subway myself. But you know what? It's worth it. I can stay at home. I can have them bring it to me. I don't have to deal with traffic, parking, waiting in lines, and all of that stuff. I can just have them bring it to me. So what? I'll pay a little bit extra. And people are saying it's worth my price. It's worth my money. And that's the big question mark I had for Uber. For nearly all of 2022 and 2023, I did not have Uber stock rated as a buy. I was skeptical that the company could raise prices enough to generate profitability and still retain growth and still retain customers. I didn't know. I kept saying in my videos and in my articles, I kept saying it remains to be seen if Uber can raise prices enough to generate profitability and still retain customers and still retain growth. That's the question mark I wanted to have answered before I could increase Uber's stock to a buy. And in the last 2 quarters, I saw that, right? That's why I increased my rating on Uber stock, and that's why I placed it on my list of top stocks to buy, because it demonstrated to me that it can raise prices and customers will stick around, right? So it might be relatively short right now, only 2 or 3 quarters of these profitabilities coming through for Uber, but it was enough to convince me that customers keep buying its stuff. Customer keeps going to Uber, right? And you could see that income from operation jumped to 652 million. Net income up by 140% to 1.4 billion. That was up from 595 million. Cash flow from operations, 823 million, up from negative 244 million, and free cash flow up to 768 million. That was from a negative 303 million in the same quarter last year. So in last year, negative profitability, negative cash flow, negative cash from operations, you can understand why I didn't rate Uber stock as a buy last year. But this year, it's a whole nother story. And Uber told investors that these profits are going to continue, that customers have absorbed them, and they feel confident that customers will keep coming back to Uber for more. If we look at the full year in 2023 compared to 2022, similar results. Number of trips up 24%, gross bookings up 19%, revenue up 17%. Income from operations, positive 1.1 billion from negative 1.8 billion. Net income 1.9 billion from a loss of 9 billion. Net cash from operations 3.6 billion up from 600 million. So a nearly 3 billion increase in cash flow from operations. Similarly, nearly 3 billion increase in free cash flow. So whether you look at the most recent quarter or whether you look at the most recent completed year, Uber impressed completely. Now looking forward to Uber's prospects for the next 3 years. For the full year in 2024, investors on Wall Street expect Uber to increase revenue by 15.8% and increase earnings per share by 42%. For 2025, they expect 15.8% revenue growth again, but earnings per share to increase by 64%. And then in fiscal year 2026, 13.5% revenue growth with 35% earnings per share growth. So really strong prospects going forward. 3 more years of double-digit revenue growth expected, and 3 more years of north of 35% earnings per share growth expected for Uber at the very least. Now, if you compare all of that, now I already told you that the stock price is up year to date over 27% already, which are excellent gains to be sure. But the stock is not expensive. It's trading at a forward price to earnings of just 25. Just 25 for a company that's making this type of excellent progress and with this type of excellent prospects going forward. Remember what I usually say about the earnings per share growth rate expectations being above the price to earnings ratio. And you have that for 3 years here. 42, 64, and 35. That's all above the forward price to earnings ratio of 25. So you're getting earnings per share growth above the PE ratio. I love when I see that. To me, that signals a good value, and I'm keeping Uber stock on my list of one of my top stocks to buy in 2024. Before I let you go, let me tell you about the greatest deal on YouTube. With just a click of a button, you can get free financial analysis from a professor with decades of investing experience. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again soon.